Hey guys, this is Barneylover over here, and I'm basically going to give you a quick, not quick, but a cast of one of my recent ZVPs. In this video, I'm just going to tell you how, I'm just going to tell you my build order, or how I think when I'm playing against Protoss. Usually Protoss is devastating when they get their third base, so I usually use Stephano's build where I max out my roaches by 12 minutes, and I am really aggressive with them. I'll just put in my view for now to see, so that you can see what I see. Now, I don't usually send out a drone to scout this quickly, but because of the fact that he was a random, I was scared of a potential 6-4 or some cheesy play. So after this is essentially typical, I'm just going to get a 15 hatchery followed by a 15 pool and an 18 extractor. I'll just speed it up a little bit, and pretty much nothing's happening right now. I'm just droning up until I get 15 drones, and I bring this down here. Usually Protoss would scout a bit earlier and deny your base, so I usually leave my drone around here. And it's always great to attack the scouting probe, or at least damage the shields, because it would, just in case that he plants down pylons, because I saw that he was doing a forge fast expand, it's great if you weaken him so that even if he decides to cannon rush you or to do something cheesy, you can actually kill them off much more easily. So put my 3 drones into my extractor, develop my 2 queens, and afterward I would produce 4 lings. I think 6 lings would be an overkill. It would be dead weight. So what I do is I put 1 ling over here, 1 ling over here, usually 1 ling at the base of the ramp to see if they're moving out. And I would use my last ling to scout around this area above my third base. And right now I'm going to plant down my third base, as you can see. So the first inject larva I used the first time the queens pop out, I used to inject larvas. And for the second part, I would plant down a creep tumor. And this is because in the early game, you don't really have that much money, so you're just going to be producing more larvae that you don't actually use. I think that the energy is better spent by creating the creep highway, or just to connect your third or second base. And it's not like you're going to lose a lot of your economy or lose a lot of mining, so I think it's a better choice, especially if you're being aggressive. You should get that creep down so your reinforcements would actually help out. So after I get my 100 gas, I usually get my metabolic boost, but sometimes I would leave the drones for the extra 100 gas so that when I'm ready to tech up to there, I can do so without waiting. So around the 7-minute mark, I decide to scout out, which is usually the proper time to do so. And I can see that there's a robotics play, so when I see that, I think that they're doing 2 different things, or actually there's 3 different possibilities he can go from there. First of all, he can warp in his warp prism and do something, can harass me. The second way is if he could go immortals and gateway units to attack me, or to just expand off of that later on. And the last possibility is you could just go straight to Colossi. So just be wary if you see the War Prism. Make sure that your overlords are spaced over here to see if you see a War Prism coming. Usually at the 8-minute mark, that's when I plant down all of my extractors. Well, I usually plant down 5 extractors. and at the same time I get my macro hatch, my roach warren, and my evo chamber. Now later I'll plant down an extra evo chamber, but I usually just leave my I usually just get one evo chamber and upgrade my missile 1 attack. Sometimes I may produce 2 and double upgrade, but it's not really necessary. I think the 1 attack is good enough. And with this build, it's not like it's not an all-in. What you're planning to do is you're trying to get 70 drones and then max out afterwards. So even if your attack fails, you actually have a decent economy to fall under. And at the same time, when you attack, you can just easily secure your 4th base. So this is typical stuff. I forgot. I still have to upgrade my my missile 1 attack. And over here, you can, if you were paying attention to the minimap, my Zerian got killed. So I'm assuming that they're going to try to establish a 3rd base. So this actually made me happy because that way their army will be much more weaker. Because not only do they have to put up the nexus, they have to put on the pylons, and potentially they have to set up the cannons as well. So once you max out your roaches, it would just be so much easier to crush. And you would obviously get your roach speed, which is basically a necessity. Also, another thing that I usually do is once you establish your 3rd base, or when you're building your 3rd base, when it's halfway done, you should produce your 3rd queen and take the queen that's originally on this base and just send her over here. And that would just help with the amount of drones produced, which would also help you with your maxing out your army quicker. Now the thing is, this Protoss isn't really good because he's basically letting you macro, and by letting me macro, he's just screwing himself over. And there's nothing much going on. Building roaches is actually easy. Also, if you see that they're going void rays, don't get deterred. Don't be afraid to attack with the many roaches you built, because first of all, by attacking, you're going to cause the void rays to go back. Well, I'll just finish explaining it after this battle. So obviously his army is so weak. So what I do is just target fire the Colossi, and then you basically won. So anyway, back to the point about my void rays, or their void rays. Don't get deterred. Just obviously you would probably scout it out. Try to scout it out first, and just from there you would set up your spore crawlers. But you should just attack. This is because a lot of the times they're not going to have a super strong army to guard the ramp, and if they go for the 3rd, you can just do multi-pronged attacks as well, which I always do. You should always learn how to do multi-pronged attacks. Send a group of roaches down here. If there's a base over here, just split up like half of those roaches here to attack the probes, half the roaches to go here, so it would just be more work for their Protoss. And most of the time the Protoss would just move their void rays back to help defend, but with this many roaches, the void rays won't do that much damage. So actually be aggressive with it, and on the back of it just make hydras. And as you can see on the back of this attack, I decide to make my 4th base, and from there you could just tech up and then you're basically secure. Make sure you just try to do whatever you can to deny their 3rd base, and if that doesn't work out, then just try to predict what he's going. After Robobay, after the robotics facility, I think that he would be going Colossi. Well, I saw the Colossi and put down the Spire right away. And if you see that, you don't really need Hydras with Colossi. The Colossi would just shred them. Just get roach, colossi, and then tech up to hive to get broodlords, and that's about it. That's all I can say. So thank you for watching. Peace out.